pause. That is my favorite nativity set of all time that you have on the cabinet behind you. It's my absolute favorite. Sorry, continue.
The very interesting thing about that is that we moved into a house and got into the attic in the garage to put some things of ours in and found boxes of things. And that whole set was in the garage.
What a gift. That's amazing.
We were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is here. And it didn't
Wow.
belong to we bought the house from because we asked. We wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
they realized they left it. I know, I love it. I love it to death.
Wow. That's amazing.
So this whole conversation, you have no idea how timely this is for me. So many things all morning, so many things. Regarding the question itself about the goal or the motivation, I really, as I've thought about it just on this call, I think it depends on the season you're in. Because I have had a goal for years of having my own business, us doing our own thing, not being, tied to another company or another person, or just wanted to have that freedom of doing things of my own. But I have had a job. And so trying to do that around the job kind of decreased the motivation to get to that goal. Life on top of the work, on top of everything else. And so while I've always had that goal, or I've had that goal for years, didn't have the right motivation to get there. I felt like I was being lazy and not accountable, but I think it just wasn't, I just didn't have the motivation to be there. So God in his infinite wisdom last week has provided me the motivation now because I got laid off from my job last week. And I had not been happy there in a long time. I did not want to continue to do the things I'd been doing. Anyway, and so when it happened, instead of being upset and, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And stressed, which I would have been had this happened probably before this year and being involved in Kingdom Seekers and 100X, I was like, oh, okay. I felt freedom. I felt relief. I felt, oh, okay, now I've got time. Now I can explore what God wants me to do. And I can make space to try to figure out what it is I need to do next. What are my goals? Now I've got the motivation because I've got 8 weeks of pay for my job and that's it. So I've got strong motivation now. But and it's interesting the things that you guys have said on this call is I have always felt like my husband and I have gone through this for a long time. Okay, we think this is what we're supposed to do, but is it really God telling us this, or is it us getting to this conclusion? Like we want to make sure, and that was one of the reasons we joined the Wisdom Challenge last year, was we wanted to make
Yeah.
sure we could know how to discern those things. And I've never felt prophetic. I've never felt like necessarily, I do feel more and more like God is talking to me, but I think my mind is just always going 100 miles an hour. And I need to kind of just pause, create that space to hear from him. And this morning was one of those times I woke up early, not with any agenda or any plan, and just laying in that quiet time, things kind of thoughts and ideas just kept flooding into my mind. And they're ideas I've had before. So for me, I feel like that's kind of God speaking is like, okay, here's a reminder. I told you this before. Maybe you should explore this now a little bit. So I am just, now I think I've got the motivation to go along with the goal and just need to, ask God of, like you said, who does he want me to be in this season? And
Yeah.
who is it that I need to become and what do I need to do next? What are my next steps?
And those are the right best questions to ask, right? And what's crazy is sometimes when we are not motivated to take action towards the vision or the thing, there will be help that seemingly comes like, oh, by the way, your job is going away, right?
Yeah.
And so the Lord like works everything together for the good. And if that vision is in our heart, if that dream is in our heart, if it's something that we're meant to accomplish, things will work together for that outcome, whether they feel good and wonderful or whether they feel like they squeeze you into motivation. Most of the time, from my experience, they squeeze you into the motivation because when you're squeezed, when you're pressed, the oil, the goodness of who you are comes out, the fragrance comes out, right? And anything that is impure goes away. It gets taken away, burnt away.
I love that because I do feel like I've always done like my best work under pressure. Like that's kind of when I work best. So
Mhm.
that's a very good way to look at that. I like that.
Yeah.
I love
And I mean, I hope that you're okay that I'm like using this as an example only because I feel like I relate to it so much. But the other thing is like that having a belief system like that, or having like a mindset of I work best under pressure. Guess when you're going to get all of your best work done? Under pressure. I am the same way. I've had this belief forever, and it's like I wonder if it's ever going to change. Well, the only way or place or time it would change is if I changed how I viewed it, right? And
yeah.
so if you guys have a belief system, if you have something that you believe or a comment or a statement that you find yourself making frequently, like I work best under pressure, guess what? You're going to find that all of your best work comes from pressure. If you desire to have something different, you would then have to work with that belief, with that mindset, with that process to say, okay, what does it look like for me to not have to work best under pressure and to work on my timeline in whatever kind of way that looks like? And then there's also the opposite of that of like, okay, well, what's going to keep me motivated? What's going to keep me moving along if I'm working under this peaceful timeline, right? So
Yeah.
then you have to play with that belief. And again, it's that two-sided coin. What does it look like on one side to be motivated? And what does it look like on the other side to be moving towards something with ease and grace and whatever? So I love that it's so applicable. I love how God does